Trae Young got put in prison again. Victor Oladipo still has a chance to be the spark for this team that puts them over the edge to be contenders. And Jimmy Butler deserves an apology from everybody. Let's talk about it. But before we get started, let's have a word from our sponsors today, SeatGeek. Now, SeatGeek is a ticket app that takes all the confusion out of buying tickets. You have an event you want to go to, but they're sold out? Not anymore. Just go on SeatGeek and type in the event that you want to go to, and they show you all the tickets available, and they rate them from a score from 0 to 10. 0 being a bad deal, and 10 being in the green, which is a good deal. And today, if you use my code FLB at checkout, you get 20% off your first ticket. With the NBA playoffs here and a lot of games being sold out, I highly suggest that you do take advantage of that and use SeatGeek to get a ticket to see your favorite team play. I just used it. I'm going to go see the Miami Heat Game 2 game against the Atlanta Hawks. But with that being said, thank you for SeatGeek for sponsoring. You know, for a team that relied on its three-point shooting as much as Miami did in the regular season to win games, you would think a game where they shot 31% from 3 and then 43% overall for the entire game, that wouldn't result in a win in the playoffs or 110 points. But that's what happened this game. The Miami Heat played some absolute insane levels of defense on Trae Young, on the entire Hawks squad, and locked them completely up. And there was one guy that was the it factor that changed all of that the moment he stepped on the court. Because in the beginning parts of the game, it really looked like this game was going to get away from Miami. At some points, the Hawks had it kind of rolling. Trae Young was being a playmaker. The entire team was hitting their shots. They had actual second scores outside of Trae. But the moment Victor Oladipo came in, this team looked completely different. Well, the Miami Heat was already struggling to manufacture offense throughout the entire game. Tyler Hero wasn't having a pretty good game. The shooting really wasn't there the entire game. They had to focus on really letting defense control their offense, translating that to buckets in the fast break and in transition. And putting Victor Oladipo in the game was the best decision Coach Spo made. He was like a mad scientist in this game. We saw lineups that we never saw in the regular season just pop up. And this lineup specifically with Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo with Victor Oladipo was the game changer in this game. Vic came in at the 7 to 8 minute mark of the second quarter, and the Miami Heat were down 29 to I think 34 or something like that. And then the Miami Heat ended off the second quarter going to halftime 55 to 41. While his offense really took some time to cook in this game because he did hit some shots around the end of it, his defense, rim pressure, and just being able to kick out the shooters, get Jimmy open, just give the team some more spacing, and be another guy that can attack the rim and play make and playing immaculate defense on the other end was just enough to basically bury this Hawks team. Honestly, this is something I never really thought of. I didn't really think that when Tyler's having a bad game, Vic can come in and be the guy that can also give you those type of buckets. I always saw them as a tandem, them coming in at the same time so that Tyler has another guy next to him that he won't have to guard the best guard that's on the court at the time. So you don't have to worry about him really defensively, and you have another defensive mind that can give room pressure and take some pressure off Tyler from being a playmaker. But to see him come in for Tyler when Tyler was having a bad game, that's another dynamic that I never thought would really show here. And while I love Caleb on this team, I think Victor is just a better version of him. He gives you the same amount of shooting. I know Vic's shot has really been rusty lately, but we saw what happened when he does get the ball he does heat up in that last game in the regular season. So I do think he gives you basically the same amount of defense or even better defense that Caleb does, which is insane. He's a better ball handler, can create a shot better than Caleb. He's a better finisher around the rim than Caleb is. And I do think he's a little bit more trusted in these playoff situations, but I don't mind switching them out for anybody right now. Max was having a tough game, so switching Caleb out for Max at times, so you give the Heat a little bit more defense while being able to work in the fast break and making defense your offense is something that I really like. But overall, this game was just a tale of putting Trae Young in prison and making your defense your offense, and Jimmy Butler being Jimmy Butler. And we're going to talk about him next. Jimmy's really trying to force me to make this Jimmy Butler deserves an apology video because he's been playing absolutely insane. 30.5 points, 7.8 rebounds, 5.3 assists, 2.8 steals on 54% shooting and 44% from 3 on 4 attempts. And 80% from the free throw line in these past 4 games. 4 games he played in the last playoffs. These are his stats. I'm not going to read them out. There's no point in me reading them out. You know they were bad. But just looking at the difference in numbers not only shows that we were right, Miami Heat were tired going in the playoffs, but just the level he's been playing at and the amount of people that were overblowing his decline, or whatever you want to call it, is actually insane. I don't even know what decline they were talking about. His numbers are almost a carbon copy of the year before with just less rebounds and less assists because you have Kyle here. That was it. Almost the same percentage from every single place on the court. Almost the same amount of points per game. There's literally no decline. If anything, it's good that he's able to keep up these type of numbers while having another ball handler here. The ball wasn't even in his hands as much as it was before, but he's still producing this at the same level. It's just absolutely insane how well he's been playing. Right now, I think he has the 5th best net rating on this team. Well, 4th best. Vic only played 1 game, and Vic has a 65.6 net rating right now, which is absolutely insane. It shows how much he was a turning point in this game. But right now, for the people that have played at least more than 3 games in this series, Jimmy has the 4th best, and everybody else above him played 10 less minutes than him. So that's insane that you have a bigger sample size, yet your net rating is almost the exact same as these guys. A 20 plus net rating is actually insane. Your team is 20 points better with you on the court. And I know the Miami Heat has been virtually dominated this series in almost every single facet. The last game, this would have been a sweep if they didn't have a 1-point loss. So I completely understand why that he's had such a high net rating. But at the same time, a 45-point game in game 2 and then a 36 performance right now. He's been the exact reason why this team has been so good and have been able to put this Hawks team to bed, and it's probably going to be the reason why this game series is over in 5. And then you look at the other side of things. Finally! Bam! Give us a pretty good game. It wasn't anything crazy, but it's way better than what we've been getting before. 14 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, no blocks or steals, but 6-11 shooting. And he looked, I wouldn't say he looked aggressive this game, but he wasn't fumbling passes like he was before, throwing them out of bounds. He wasn't making bad reads. He didn't look completely unengaged at all. His defense was great in almost every facet of this game, and he was a plus whenever he was on the court. So we finally got a decent Bam Adebayo game in this series. And we're definitely going to need you to do this more the more we get to the playoffs, or better than this. You can't be a 14 point per game. We need at least 18 to 20 from you. You need to put guys like Joel Embiid or Giannis or Brook Lopez on work on the defensive end. So at least that way in the offensive end, they don't have as much energy to really dominate the game like they normally do. I don't expect Bam to completely stop Joel Embiid, but I do think he can give him a little bit of trouble. And while forcing him to work on the defensive end, it can really help this team a lot. So we need an aggressive Bam Adebayo coming in. This game, the shooting was off, but that's how it is for teams that, rely on their 3-point shooting, live and die by the 3. But looking that their defense can translate into winning without the 3-point shot being the hallmark of this, and have a 20-point win game, it just shows that this team is really good and has multiple ways to win these games. So let me know what the guys think in the comment section down below. What do you think Game 5 is gonna be like? I think it's probably another blowout. I think we finally see a Heat dominating performance. I think we finally see Tyler get a final good game in this series. I think we see a little bit more of Vic, so he can get really seasoned, maybe use him more further in other rounds. And I do think we see an aggressive Bam Adebayo to end out the series. With that being said, this is FLB. That's my time, and I'm out.